I want to show a practical example of how I use AI models to help me code faster by taking a 2-year-old Next.js app and updating all the dependencies, cleaning up tech debt, doing some refactoring, lots of stuff that I can do much faster in, let's call it an hour, than if I had to type everything out myself. So I've got the app open on the left, I've installed the dependencies, that's basically it so far. I've got it running on the right. And we're going to start stepping through the app. I'm going to make some notes about things I want to change, and then we're going to actually get started. I'm going to go to the package.json first. And we see this is a Next.js 13 app. It's using MDX, Tailwind. It's got ESLint set up. Pretty basic setup. And I'm going to go to the README. It's still got the create next app README. We're going to delete all this, and we're going to say, this is refactoring. So first thing I want to do is update all dependencies to their latest versions. And in doing that, there's kind of two different ways I could go about this. One, I can ask the agent to update it, but because I know that there's some commands that will help make this a little easier called code mods, I can ask the agent to go and run those code mods, which can deterministically apply changes to my code base. This is both for the Next.js 13 to 14 to 15 updates, but also Tailwind 3 to 4. As I can see, we've got a Tailwind config here that's got a lot of stuff, and I would like to move away from this config file to the Tailwind 4 version where it just uses a global CSS file. So this is going to need code mods for Next and Tailwind. And then what other dependencies? Well, I've noticed that this code base has evolved over time. There used to be a blog on this Anysphere website, which is kind of the parent company of Cursor. It has since moved to the Cursor website. So that was, I think, why MDX was added here in the past. Now it is where job postings are listed. And if I go click in here, you can see this. And I could probably add some better mobile styling here as well. But we probably don't need MDX for this. This is using an external system for managing the job postings. So we can probably read from there and just get rid of MDX entirely. So I think we should get rid of that. I'm not sure if all of these dependencies are being used. Looks like there's some kind of old component here that has to do with the blog post. I'm guessing we're not using this anywhere. So let's clean up unused dependencies. And also there's a pro tip, there's a tool called nip, which can also find unused code paths. So we might want to run that. Oh, that's going to bother me now. Fix that. Okay, what else is in here? That seems fine. Now let's start just reading through the files. I'm going to see what things I want to clean up, and maybe we'll make some rules along the way. So the post CSS file should go away with the Tailwind migration. The next config, we've got MDX. We can clean that up. I've got ESLint. Let's also move to Biome. Let's give that a shot. So move to Biome for formatting and linting. So delete ESLint. And I don't think prettier was set up, so that's just a chance for us to move that over in one fell swoop. We've got our source, we've got public, so we've got some static assets in here, and then we've got the app. So we can get rid of the blog entirely. I'm pretty sure that the blog was already redirecting. If I go here, click here. Yeah, this already redirects, so I think we can just get rid of that entirely. So remove the blog entirely. Then let me step through some of these things. We have the old component. We have this page. So there's some unused imports in here as well. Then this calls title page, which has this load in animation. Okay. And just looking at this code, there is a lot of inline styles, which I don't think we need because we're using Tailwind. We can probably clean some of that up. Okay, so I'm starting to see one thing, which is we shouldn't need to do this because we can just use Tailwind for everything. So let's say like almost like a style section. We're going to move all inline styles to use Tailwind. And we might need to pull some of those to the global styles. I guess we'll see, because it looks like there's some in here. But I also, this is a little surprising to me that we're loading a font inside of the globals file, because we should use the Next.js font component for this. Next.js 13, I think that existed. Yeah, we have enter loaded here, and then Laura. Which one's being used? So when I look at the root layout, we're not using this video anymore, so I should be able to get rid of loading those scripts. So just make the page load faster, shouldn't need that. So we want to do some cleaning up of the layout. Remove video stuff. Also, I don't think, we need to just investigate the fonts. Investigate fonts. Not sure if all being used. The old component probably isn't used. I also think that this page imports title page from Genius. It's like kind of a personal style thing here, but my preference would be to combine Genius.tsx into the app.page. If that's only used on that one page, which if you click on a product description, we're not using that hero anywhere else, we should just put it on that one page. We don't need the separate component abstraction. But footer, that makes sense. We're using that on both pages. Again, with the inline styles that shouldn't really want. That seems fine. Another like stylistic thing, super minor, but I prefer to put the export lines on the component itself, not at the bottom of the file. That seems fine. Also, yeah, like prettier / formatting with Biome will help clean up some of this stuff. Okay, now let's look at the careers pages. So there's a bunch of different job postings here, which I think it looks like the quick and dirty approach was to throw these into Markdown since we already had the listing set up. And then we have a redirect when going here. I'm not entirely sure why that is there. But then this page renders a job page layout component. It takes in the content, and then there's a job application form. So I would refactor all of this to instead be refactor to shared layout, because every listing has a job form, and we can get this information dynamically rather than using Markdown. So let's click on one of these, for example. You've got information about the job, you've got the role, and then there's a form at the bottom where you can submit. And this form is going to talk to the API, which I think we're using Ashby here, which is like the HR system. So we should be able to also read all of this information from Ashby. So read job listings from Ashby, and probably do some refactoring on the form component to use shadcn UI. The reason for this is we've got a form. It's got inputs, it's got buttons, it's got file pickers. We've got these kind of tags up at the top. We don't necessarily have to, but if this application grows in complexity, it would be nice to have these accessible primitives that we're building on top of, where we can probably get a lot of stuff for free. So maybe we'll do a maybe on this one, depending on, maybe we have all the logic we need and we don't need to bring any additional dependencies. That totally could be possible, but I'm guessing there's probably better like focus styles and things we could add if we just use that foundation. What else do we have here? Here we're loading the Laura font. So yeah, it's an interesting thing here. I would expect this to be in the root layout if we're going to use that on both pages. Also, I don't know why this back... Are we loading a background image there? Oh, wow. It's very, 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 very subtle, but there is a background image there. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we should be able to move all of these MDX files. So move or remove MDX files and instead read from the API. And what else? That all seems fine. What's in the pages? So we're still using pages in app. So let's consolidate to app router, move off pages. And inside of here we have getting the video, which we're not using anymore, so we can delete that. I'll actually just go ahead and delete it as we're going here. And then submit application. So this is actually submitting, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. We've got 300 lines of kind of error handling and talking to the Ashby API. So yeah, let's probably refactor this to be a route handler, but we're still gonna want that. We've got some types. We've got the jobs, and it looks like we at some point did try to pull the jobs from Ashby, and then maybe it didn't work or we wanted to change it. So let's actually make this work. We can probably delete this file then. We've got some hooks. Use job form. Okay, so this is like managing all of the form state, submitting the application, calling the API endpoint. Great. Yeah. I'm guessing we can refactor some of that as well. And then we have a few components in here: job application form, job page layout. I would love to consolidate a lot of that. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. This MDX components file should be able to go. So this is a decent list. What I want to do, the first thing in here, we're probably 7 or 8 minutes in, is now that we kind of know what we want to do, I'm going to make a new branch. So we're going to create a new branch, refactoring. Now, as we make changes along the way, I'm going to be able to make commits just in case I mess something up. We can always go back. So far, the only thing I did was change the README and deleted that thing. So update README. Great. So let's actually start stepping through some of these changes. We can do changes ourselves, kind of manually driving, and we can use the agent for a lot of things. All right, so first let's do the updates for dependencies and actually step through and see if these things work. So I'm going to go search the docs for upgrading and get the command. Let's do this. And we're already on app router, so I don't need to do anything there. This looks fine. We can do, yeah, we'll do this. Okay, I'll stop our server and go to our package.json. So let's update everything to the latest. Do you prefer to stay on React 18? No, it's fine. React 18's 9, TurboPack, sure. It's going to give me a bunch of different deterministic code mods that I can run. Great. React 19, code mods, sure. All of that is fine. We're going to make a bunch of changes in this one. It's just going and going and going. So the reason why I like to show this example is that deterministic things are good. Like code mods are helpful. We know that this is going to solve some things very concretely. And then if there's errors or issues, we can still use AI and use the AI agent to help us fix some of those things. But we should take advantage of as much as we can get for free here. Okay, it's running a bunch of changes, a bunch of React 19 code mods too. Great. let's go step through these changes. So we're going to use Turboback. It updated some of the typing, some of the linting configs, updated our lock file. That's kind of interesting. It added spaces here. That just seems like a bug. I don't think we need that. And what else? Cool. So actually, I think we can probably just discard these changes. I don't think we need those. So it's saying, like, based on the code mods, there isn't anything else that we need to do here. We can see if this works, just without any other changes. Let's go back to the home page. Okay, we have an issue with parsing CSS source code failed. Well, I was going to get rid of that anyway, so let's make a commit. Next code mod, and then we'll go to global CSS, and we're going to get rid of this because we're going to go to use next font. Okay, that worked. Some kind of issue there. That compiles. Do these compile? Yes. Okay, so we updated the Next.js version. Great. What else do we want to do in here? Let's do a PN upgrade interactive and kind of step through the things that we want to update here. We're going to avoid Tailwind. We're going to remove MDX, but we could update these. Well, we're going to remove blob 2. That seems fine. Okay. What should we do next? Let's remove. So we got, well, let's do Tailwind. Let's try to check this whole box off. One more. Let's try to check this whole box off for Tailwind 3 to 4. Tailwind 4 upgrade guide. And there's also a code mod in here. Okay, I'll take this, run this. And we're going to install that command. I love code mods. Thank you, Tailwind team and Next team. Okay, this did a lot of changes. So we no longer need auto prefixture. It's got the Rust engine. It's on Tailwind 4. We updated our post CSS config. Still needed because we're in Next. What is the change here? Oh, just move from that dynamic 2 pixels to use the system. Flex grow to grow. That seems fine. I understand why it did this, but my hope is to actually refactor this whole thing away so that I don't need to have the config file. But I think we need to do a little more diving to know if that works. So let's say refactor. It's not really a style thing. I'll just say like get rid of Tailwind config. Now, there was topography in here and forms plugins, which we might need or we might not need. But we can keep this for now. And let's see if this runs and looks the same. Yeah, seems close enough. Let's commit this. So we're on Tailwind 4. That seems fine. And we can kind of go in and check this off. This is a hacky way of doing it, but okay, we got that, we got that. Okay, unused dependencies. Let's go open up the agent and let's say run nip to find unused code paths or files. And we're going to start just deleting stuff. This is going to be the delete motion here. So we know we want to delete the blog. So we can delete that. Just all of those files, yeet, are gone. We can search for blog and see if there's anything else. This blog in the footer already goes to the cursor site. This old file, I'm guessing, is going to get removed, so I'm not too worried about that. We're going to see what nip comes back with. See if there's any other things it can determine. And what else is in here? Let me mark this one off because we're going in here. And then I think delete the blog entirely, done. We can do Biome and ESLint next. I'm going to kind of hold off on the MDX one because I think that's a slightly bigger change. We can do that last. Okay, nice. So I'm going to avoid these because we're going to get rid of MDX entirely and we're going to move to reading those from the API. But like we thought, the old is unused. And then that jobs talking to the Ashby API is also not used, but we will use it, or we will use a version of it. And then we can get rid of a few dependencies too. So let's go in here and we can get rid of blob. This one, we're not using the video player anymore, and then React loading skeleton. Okay, that all seems fine. And this is like a minor nit thing, but you actually don't need the name or the version if it's private. So it just cleans that up a little bit. Great. Now let's do help me migrate from ESLint to Biome for formatting and linting. I actually don't know the best way of doing this, but I do know that on the latest Next, it's now possible. Like Next.lint is decoupled from using ESLint specifically, so we should be able to do that. Let's commit this change, remove blog and unused code. And we can start stepping through here. So we'll be able to delete the ESLint JSON. And we'll see what it thinks we should do. Because we don't have prettier setup at all right now, but I do want to use that. I haven't used Biome much, but I'm a fan of what they're doing. It seems really fast, and we'll see what this gets us. While this is going, I don't have to just stare at the output. We can try to figure out some other things we want to do. Consolidate to app router or move off pages. We have this submit application thing that we're going to need to figure out. That's one thing. And what else? I could start looking at the fonts too. I'm curious, were there other places using... Oh, interesting. We're using this on a bunch of different places. So it's in this Genius thing, the layout thing, the careers page, the job application form. Okay, well, the first thing we can do is we can just start to at least just delete this from here. And, oh, interesting. Yeah, it's adding those as inline styles, which we won't want to do. We should just be setting the font family globally. Like, I think my eye isn't great. I think this is all Laura. Like everything in the entire app. I don't see anything using enter. So I think we should be able to just Laura style font weight. I don't think we're going to need any of this, but we'll see what happens. And the nice thing about tab is I can like tab across files too, which is pretty nice. Just get rid of all this stuff. Seems fine. All of that seems fine. There's a few more errors in here we want to clean up. Okay, next file. Oh, now we're starting to get into the Biome stuff. So let me let me hold off on that. We still have one here, so we're going to get rid of that. And while I'm here, I'm just going to get rid of this. It's unused. Okay, now we should only have this one import in here, and we should use Laura instead. Let's see if it can. Nice, that looks fine. Preload true. And then where is enter being used? Great, that seems fine. Also, I mentioned this earlier, we had these inline scripts, but we can delete them because we're not using the video anymore. So that's a little bit more clean. Also, I don't really like inline code comments that don't say anything. And you can also inline that. Also, this viewport is that's the default value, so we don't need that. I don't think these authors or keywords really give us much. So I'm going to just remove those. It's starting to look a little bit better. I'm liking where we're getting there. Were there other errors in here? No, I think this is good. Okay. This is still going. Still going. Let me go read some of the output here. So it added the dependencies I needed. It removed the ESLint dependency. It updated the package JSON. It ran a Biome check. There were some errors. It's still trying to make sure everything's right there. Okay, so lint is Biome lint. Check is check. Fix format. That seems okay. Here's the schema it used. Linter. Okay, sure. That seems fine to me. Don't feel too strongly about it here. And then I think it worked. Maybe. It seems like it might be getting stuck on something, but I mean, I can go in here and delete the ESLint RC myself. But maybe it's trying to fix. Oh, interesting. It didn't find ESLint RC JSON. Well, buddy, it's right here. So I'm going to delete it for you. What else is there? That seems fine. I might just end up stopping this because I think it's got some of the stuff there for me. But now I'm curious to do the default has a bunch of unused stuff for me, unused imports. Okay, so some of this seems good. Unused imports, I definitely want to fix. Avoid the use of important. I feel like add the important. Actually, I'll make a new tab. Ignore the important rule in my Biome config. Maybe I'll want that later, but there's like a bunch of these, and I'm not gonna mess with all of those styles. As we move to, I mean, this is a lot. As we move to Tailwind and we nuke all of those away, like maybe this won't be an issue. So I think what I want is I'm gonna commit this like Biome setup, and then I want to try the lint, the fix, and see if it can remove those unused imports for me. Oh boy. It did a lot of stuff. Maybe too much stuff? Oh, so it ran prettier as well, which I'm not ready to do yet. I might have did that incorrectly. Let me delete these. It's really struggling with updating this for some reason. Oh, there it is. Linter rules complexity, no important styles to off. Okay, works for me. I don't know. Check right. What is the difference between lint and check? Pn run check. I'm wasting a lot of time on this. Oh. Oh, this is the imports and the exports are not sorted. Oh boy. Maybe we should fix other stuff before we get into this. And then we can step through and fix some of these. I mean, the unused import ones, I think, is an easy one. But let's put this on hold for now. This change is good for me. I'll keep that. That's one that we know we want. And then let me just do, I'm going to format everything for now so that I don't have to look at any of the diffs later. The formatting is like low risk versus running potential auto fixes on the linting rules is a little bit more potentially problematic. But I've got this new base set up here. So that's good. I cleaned up the root layout. I investigated the fonts. Let's start going to the careers stuff. So actually, I'm going to kick off an agent here. I want to combine Genius into page. Also, in the process, migrate everything from inline styles to using Tailwind. Is this doable? Should be doable. Also, remove the commented out stuff. And what else? I also don't think you need the memo stuff. I don't think that was needed. Okay, we're gonna let that cook while we start to get rid of some of the MDX stuff. So we've got all these different careers pages that we're kind of reading from MDX, but we're gonna instead actually read these from the API. So instead of having explicit slugs and folders for all of these, instead it's going to be something like new folder, which is careers/slug. And then inside of here, we're going to have the page.tsx. And this is going to have generate static params. Yeah, it's going to have something like this, where we're going to get all of the fetch all job posts from API, and then this is going to render a specific job post. So that's what we're going to be building towards, which means we should be able to delete pretty much all of this. I feel like I can pull this just for reference so we can kind of see what we were working with. And I'll just comment this out here just so we have it, just so we know. But then I think we should be able just to go delete like all of this. Just delete it, see what happens. I might, I'm using GPT-5 high reasoning in the fast version, but high reasoning is like a lot of reasoning, and it might be too much. This is a good time where you need to really think about which model you're using. You can just use auto, which maybe that's a good, a better model for the task I'm trying to do here versus combining these two things together. At the same time, getting things perfectly migrated from inline styles to Tailwind is non-trivial, and I do want to make sure that's right. So I'm okay with this taking a little bit more time because I'm just working on something else while this is going. Like, it's not actually that important to me. I could just close this and just not even look at it. This careers page, I don't even think this was being used. Oh, let me restart this. Let me do it on 3002. I don't think this page was being used. If so, we can clean it up. Yeah, I feel like this is a little strange of a page to have. Like, shouldn't we just redirect back to the home page? I mean, this is more of a product decision. But this page doesn't really tell me a lot versus the home page. So I would say let's just delete it. Delete it. Now it's like, wait, what? I can't find this page. App careers page. Well, we shouldn't need it anymore. And then actually, I'll just make a note in the README here that I'll just do like cleanup, add redirect for careers. I'm not gonna do that right now because I know that I need to change the config to get rid of MDX. So we're just gonna leave that and great. Okay, going back to here, let's, oh, this is still cooking. Should we check in on this thing? See how it's doing? How's this doing? Okay. We have title page. Careers block. So much better in Tailwind versus all the inline styles. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay, is this the only change? Let's keep this, and the page already hot reloaded on me, so it seems fine. One way we can check is we could do this. Let's get rid of this. Basically the same. Actually, the padding looks more correct on the new version. Sweet. Oh, and it's gonna go delete that file for me too. Oh no, now it's trying to run. It's trying to fix all the lints. Oh, at least maybe just the lints for this file. That's fine. It's generally not necessarily a bad thing when the agent decides to check linting and type checking and run builds. I would prefer for that behavior more than not because it can usually find things that I might have missed. So that's good. But I think it's probably done. Let's see. Delete this file. Oh, there was one more inline style. Nice, it found another. And it already deleted the file. Let's go look at the diff. Is there another? Oh, there's some other import error that's missing. I'm gonna stop this. I think we're good for now. And I wanna read all of these changes. So I deleted a bunch of stuff. I combined Genius into here. Great, that looks fine to me. So let's go to the README. Where did I say that? Combine Genius into here. Great, that looks good. And I've got one of these done, not all of these done. Nuke careers stuff. Okay, now I want to try to make this careers page actually talk to the Ashby API and clean up what was in that jobs file. So I want to say something like, maybe we're going to do, look at the jobs file. And we want to use the Ashby API to fetch all of the job slugs for /careers /my job here. And then inside of the page, fetch info about the job posting itself so that we can forward it along. Let's just focus on one job slug for now, which is, we can just use this one. What else do we want to do here? Make these changes inside of the page file. So the reason why I want to do this, and I also changed from GPT high reasoning to just the medium reasoning, just to make it go a little bit faster here for this kind of smaller change, is I want to make sure it works first with one route, and then we can kind of move that to a shared service that's used between this and submitting jobs. But what I want to see is just, can it render this dynamically based on some information that I'm passing it? And I think the home page, it was rendering them based on this, so like based on this href. So we're going to need some of these, and maybe we can start with knowing one that's going to work, like enterprise AE or technical account manager. There is a question, I don't know if this slug comes from the API anywhere or if it's something that we're defining. It might be something that we were defining when this was in MDX, and we'll need to actually change that. So let me see what this looks like. So we fetch a job posting based on the slug, and the slug is the job posting ID. So right now there isn't a translation between human readable slug, like enterprise AE or something, or software engineer, and that. Oh, that's not right either. We want to, yeah, this is interesting. This all seems mostly the same. It should be just, I guess there's more refactoring we need to do here anyway, because the job page layout thing, like this, doesn't really exist anymore. So let me still steal this comment and keep this down here. So job page layout, which was this thing, I think what we want is move job page layout to be app/careers/layout.tsx and convert everything from inline styles to Tailwind CSS. And then I think the API changes a little bit. We can update the API to instead forward information that we get back from the Ashby API in page, where we're going to get a description of the job in HTML rather than the job content being MDX like it was previously. Sure. The form component should be in the layout, not in the page. Cool. I will save that. So yeah, like this form, I think should be in the layout, and then this role post used to be in MDX, which we should be able to get that HTML from the job posting. So like, let's see. Yeah, so here's like an example of the Ashby job that we should be able to pull from the API. We've got this HTML of what the posting is that we're going to want to include rather than using the MDX here. And it has all these other tags like locations, department, titles. Like we shouldn't need to do any of that stuff. We should be able just to fetch it back. But let's see if this is even going to work. We've got some kind of error, which I've deleted and moved a bunch of stuff, so maybe I'll just restart this and figure out what's going on. Okay, this should not work because there's only one slug here. So this is /careers, whoops, careers / this. Oh, okay, wow, I'm pleasantly surprised that worked. So I put in this, not human readable, but just like the slug. It did talk to the API and it did render back title, department, and location correctly. So that's good. We can properly talk to the API. I think we probably want to have some mapping of, let's create a mapping of, I was going to say if we want a mapping of UUIDs that are, so we can have cleaner URLs to, engineer, but I don't think we have those inside of the Ashby system. So then the question becomes, do you want to maintain that state inside of the application itself, or do you just defer to whatever the UUID is we get back from Ashby, unless there's some kind of system inside of there that allows you to define custom slugs, which maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe what we should try is just seeing what information we get back in here. So do we have like a slug or anything? Not really. So maybe for the sake of this video, I will keep the UUID slugs, but and I'd have to add redirects for it. This is more of a product and business decision that I don't think I can make on my own. Whoa, okay. The agent just updated a bunch of stuff for us, and we have something that looks real, which is good. What has it done? So we have a layout, job tag, fetch Ashby. Okay, fetch Ashby job posting. Well, we don't need to fetch the job posting in the layout. Oh wait, this is a good, yeah, we don't need to fetch the job posting in the layout. We should fetch that in the page, and then it gets rendered as a child. Unless it needs to read other information. So it's reading the job title, department, these other things for tags. And I think that's the problem. So the left side tags and the middle role section. Oh wait, is it figuring it out? It just figured that out as I was going. The left side tags and the middle role section. Anyway, that's a good example of the agent reading its outputs. It read the console log, I'm assuming. It read the console log that showed that I had the description, and then it updated that. But let me fix this. The left side tags in the middle role section should be in the page. So it's going to queue this up to get sent. And let me see what the other file was. Actually, I'm just going to drop that in right now. Yeah, description HTML. And it's using Tailwind topography. Okay, interesting. So the change that it made was the page, the only content of the page was this. But what I'm suggesting is that we actually want this to be part of the page as well, so that we fetch the data in one place and then we use it to render those content. And this is just a child. This is a child of the broader layout that has the form down at the bottom. Because this form, we should be able to forward the ID, or you could just read it from the URL and then use that when we're submitting. So let's see if that works. I'm gonna say that looks fine for now. We're gonna see what the refactoring is here. Another thing that I might add, and I could add right now, let's just do this. I'm going to add a new tab. Create a cursor rule to avoid adding unhelpful inline comments. Only add comments if absolutely necessary. Prefer having more descriptive variable or function names. Like, I really, like, this comment doesn't do anything. It's just slop. I don't want that. Let's see if it is figuring out. I'm going to refactor layout to stop fetching and wrap the children. Great. Because what I want to see is I want to see this get updated and this render correctly. And I'm about at my hour limit here, so I'm gonna need to figure this out quickly. I'll add a new cursor rules file at the project root. A good example of the knowledge cutoff. So there's a .cursor/rules. There's also the old way of .cursor rules, and not, in the training data, even in a newer model like GPT-5, there's still just a lot of .cursor rules information out there. It's still supported, it still works, but it's just interesting to see that. So it's going to go do that. Let me go back to here. Oh, it's making changes to the layout to stop fetching and only wrap the background and children. We can go see the cursor rule. Avoid adding unhelpful inline comments that restate the code or state the obvious. Only add them when necessary. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay. Oh, I haven't looked at this one. Job page layout. This whole thing is basically gone. And it couldn't decide if it wanted to keep the file or delete it. And I'm going to just say we're going to delete it. Same thing with... oh. That was kind of weird. I just want to delete it. Cool. Okay. This, I think, is done. Careers layout. Background image, page content, application form, footer. In the application form. Oh, interesting. Require. I don't think we want that. We should just be able to... Oh, is there another change? Description HTML. Okay. That's closer. Nice. And our server is still running down here, so we see that it did work. It updated this. We've got some of this here. Still needs a little bit better formatting. Oh, wait. Did it fix? Oh, look at that. Look at that breakpoint. Yeah, that's closer. It could use more spacing, but it's somewhat right. Let me start to go through and clean some things up here. So we've got the page. We should be able to get rid of this now. That was the old layout, and now we've got a much nicer version here. This seems fine. Yeah. Okay, so that looks fine. And then here, I don't know why it did this. Also, this is almost an unnecessary abstraction. Like, we could just take this and go here, and this was the slug. And then import. I just tabbed that import, which is why you didn't see it. But we've got this here. I don't know why it suggested that. But then we can get rid of this. I should set up format on save as well. But let me reload. This still works. Oh, cool. Then in this, we're getting an error about the params.slug should be awaited before using its properties. So this is slug. And I don't know. Yeah, that looks right. Great. So that works. We've got a change here, delete that file, add the layout. We have a careers layout, and I could also then go in and do pn run format, fix up some of those files, or I could do it on save. Cool. Okay, let's check in on the README, and we're kind of running out of time, but we got a decent amount of stuff done. We refactored to a shared layout. Did we read the job listings? We did. We removed the MDX files. This form component thing hasn't came up yet, so I didn't get to that. But let's take a look at kind of what we've got so far. Now we have this one page. It's going to fetch this dynamically from Ashby versus the inline MDX files. We're using all Tailwind instead of a bunch of the inline styles. And we might end up pulling this Ashby logic out into like a data access layer, because we're going to also talk to the Ashby API when we're submitting the form. And then we might also have some translation from slugs to human readable values. But this is already looking a lot better. We can delete this careers page like we talked about. Yeah, this is already starting to look a bit better. This layout's much more clean. We removed a lot of those. Duplicate font loading. Okay, so while we didn't get to cover everything that I wanted in an hour, I think we made quite a bit of progress, and AI helped me do a lot of things that would have taken me much longer to do. The grunt work of moving from inline styles to Tailwind, and moving files around and going and researching and looking things up for me, and kind of just running in the background while I'm doing other things. It's very much a pair programmer. It's not like I'm just delegating all control to the AI. I'm still making very surgical changes and using the model to help me in this journey of updating a bunch of stuff and cleaning up tech debt and moving things around. And this is the reality, I think, of how most people are working with AI models today. So I wanted just to make this video and show something a bit more practical versus more of the like 0 to 1. I figured I'd also show the usage that I incurred during this session. So I was coding for about an hour using the agent quite a bit. I used GPT-5 high fast and then normal GPT-5 with medium reasoning. And it was about $3.50. Of course, the fast versions are going to be a little bit more expensive than the normal speed ones, but that's not too bad. If you found this helpful, please let me know, and stay tuned for the next one.